Lower the camera a bit.
Hi, everyone. Today is Friday, December 10th. We had a little snafu yesterday for our guests. Our guest had a personal emergency, so could make it. But here we are today. And I'm so happy that our guest was able to join us today. So, just a little bit of housekeeping. If you're joining us live, down below, hashtag live, or if you're seeing the replay, just hashtag replay, and do tell us where you're from, because we love to know where you're from. As you know, I'm coming in from Mexico. My host, my guest today, I'm the host. My guest today is from Europe. And also, if you would like to comment, please allow StreamYard, give them permission to use your name. There is a little banner above that you will see. Click on that and just allow them to use your name. Otherwise, you come out as Facebook user, and we would love to know who is joining us. So, and if you just want to react, a thumbs up or hearts, well, we love those hearts. So send us a lot of hearts. Okay. So as usual, I usually tell you what my guests and I have in common. We're both educators. Um, my guest taught, Mike is his name, and he taught in prestigious international schools, mostly in Malaysia, kindergarten, which is very unusual. I think it's unusual because anybody who can teach kindergarten can teach anybody in the world, as far as I'm concerned. I was an educator. I was a college prep high school teacher in the Bay Area. That's the San Francisco area. And so did that for 35 years. We are both expats also. An expat is a citizen of one country that lives in a different country. We're both business owners. And the other thing we have in common is that we have a lot of the same mentors and coaches. Brenda Bouchard, Pat Quinn, Pete Vargas, Tony Robbins, and Dean Graciosi. And all of those influencers that are related to the self-educated revolution, the SARE family. Now, if you're not familiar with that, Tony and Dean started a program called the KBB Knowledge Business Blueprint course in 2019. It was done to be their legacy. They wanted to start a new legacy for themselves, and they started the self education is the new norm movement. And this movement has turned into a revolution, really, of which both Mike and I are part of. So, as I've said before, we meet the nicest people online. I met Mike two plus years ago. So, without further ado, let's meet our wonderful guest, Mike Empoligado. Hi, Mike. How are
Hey,
you?
hey, how are you doing, Lucy?
I'm doing fine, thank you. So tell me, where were you coming from? I said Europe, but what country in Europe are you coming in from?
Right. So I was born and raised in Poland, and
Hmm.
then since 2012, I was traveling a bit across Asia for now.
Hmm.
Looking forward to move to the other side of the world as well. Visit you in Mexico.
That's right. So you're back in your homeland. Does that mean you're no longer an expat?
Yeah, this is a temporary situation.
Okay.
Unfortunately, COVID forced me to go back home because it was very difficult, very complicated to extend visa during this time.
Hmm.
So yeah, for this moment, I'm staying in my home country, but I'm already looking forward to my new destinations.
All right. Now let's talk about your background a little bit, Mike. I know that you're an engineer by trade. Is that correct?
That's correct. My first degree is a civil engineer,
All right.
but never worked in this field though.
How did you get from engineering to teaching? I mean, not only that, but a kindergarten teacher. Can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Right. Well, so it all came from my passion because I
Mhm.
was also together when I was going through my college times. I was very active. I love sports and moving, And so I found this sport called capoeira, which is a Brazilian martial art combined with dance and stuff. And so I was just doing that. And after a while, I realized that I actually just really enjoy teaching these moves to children. And that's how I started with the kids. I first started as a instructor, capoeira
Mhm.
instructor, and then it just led from one thing to another. And I started to, at the moment I finished my engineer degree, I took another faculty, and then I finished my master degree in early childhood education.
Okay, so now you call yourself an online communicator, coach. So you went
Right.
from engineer to teacher, kindergarten, and now. So can you fill us in on that gap a little bit?
Right, that's a fancy name, right? Online communication coach. Well, as the idea is basically this. I was never a big fan of social media. I have to say, the social media was always something I was staying away from, really, until 2019. I honestly didn't have any social media account
Hmm.
other than sort of like a basic one to communicate with my family, right? But I never took part in any online media things, right? Like I don't look at it, I don't go, I don't
Right,
browse, nothing like it, right?
right.
And I had this idea about social media because of my time in the school when I've seen the students, right? Just being on their phone constantly all the time, and they were just like zombies, like
Right.
it was really weird because they were not talking to each other. They would rather stay on the phones, right? And so that was sort of like, for me, it was like, no, social media is like actually anti-social thing, right?
Right.
So
Right.
no. But then after a while, I actually had I was traveling a bit around Asia, like I said, being a part of the teams in different international schools. And unfortunately, I just realized that that our education system, is not designed for the students. It's designed for maybe business owners, maybe people who have something out of it. But the students are actually like probably somewhere there at the background, right?
Right.
And so I just couldn't do it anymore, and I started to feel like I can't really follow this path any longer. I had a little burnout, and I was looking for something else. Just like you mentioned over here, I found Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi with their movement, with the self-education movement, and I figured that might be something interesting. And that's how I got in, like, this sidetracked to this social media world, because I realized, okay, self-education is amazing, and educating people across the borders, one global village, was an amazing vision. But it requires you to be familiar with all these tools of today's world, communication tools, and
Right.
social media happens to be a part of it, and you can't really like skip this part if you want to be a part of this new world, right? So that's how I started to really like dig into this. I've met one of my biggest mentors, Russell Brunson, who had this big saying that you can use social media without being used by it, right? And I was like, yes, that's what I want to do. Right?
Right. What a
Show
great
me how to
story.
do that.
Yeah.
And so
What does that really mean, though, Mike? You can use social media without it being using you. Can you explain that a little bit to our audience,
right.
please?
I have a question to you, Lucy. Did you have a chance to see The Social Dilemma?
Yes, I did.
Right.
Absolutely.
So
Great.
I've seen
Yeah.
that movie too, and this movie shows it perfectly. Like, what's the problem with social media, right?
Right. Right.
Because I'm sure that all the social media users, they see the positive side of it, because otherwise they would not be users, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
But not all of us see the downside of it, right? And this Social Dilemma, it's on Netflix, so I recommend watching it. It's a very good movie,
It's a great
a
documentary. Yeah. Mhm.
documentary, right?
Right.
With people who used to work for these institutions, right? So this is
Right.
really, really good insight. and you can see like how the social media are programming people, right? Like how they're affecting your subconscious mind, and like things that you're doing, how they're stealing your time, for instance, right? Or just sort of like I said, programming you to do certain things or buy certain things or act in a certain way, right? And so this is how social media is using you,
Right.
right? Without you even knowing about it, right? But at the same time, if you know how this works, right, you see behind the scene, and then you can think about social media as a platform when you become a producer, when you become a publisher. You're not a consumer of the content, you're a producer of the content,
Right.
right? So
Big
that's
difference.
changed the game. You're just
Yeah.
taking the rules, right, and starting to use it in order to do something positive, to be creative, right? So in that way, you can actually use these tools for something good, right? To do
Absolutely.
something that actually helps you, develops you, and also allows you to connect with others and help them, right?
Right, absolutely. And so, how did Russell Brunson? I mean, obviously, that's a great saying, use social media without it using you. How did that help you move forward in your business? Because I think you are creator of brand, your build your brand, right? Or brand,
Build
mm,
your brand group. Yep.
build your brand, School of Self Mastery. Absolutely.
Hmm.
So, how did that help you get to where you are today? Because it's so
Well,
important.
I have to say, to be honest, like Lucy, when I quit my job in a school, in the international school, all I was thinking about is to go online and start my courses, create
Mhm.
some mastermind, some programs, do this, do that, and I have all these different ideas. I actually created a bunch of them because for me, being a teacher, it was actually like, yeah, I have this and this and this and this and this, million ideas. The problem was I had no people for it. Like it was, I had a big hard time finding people who
Mhm.
wants this, right? And even if I find somebody, like how do I share it? How do I propose
Right.
this so it doesn't feel weird, right? And so it became, I don't know if it's a good word, obsession, but sort of maybe it's more like a passion really than obsession, because I started to think about, okay, so how do you talk to people online so it's actually, so you're not wasting your time,
Right.
right? And so you're not just like blabbing about anything, right? Because you can spend 24 hours on social media
In there.
and nothing will happen, right? If you don't have a plan, if you don't have the strategy. And I was like, I need to know how to do this. So at the end of the day, I can actually feel like I achieved something, right? And so I created actually the Build Your Brand group. At the beginning had a different name, and it was all because of my mentor Russell Brunson. So he had this
Mhm.
program, uh, Funnel Hackers, right? Because they're sort of hacking other people's marketing funnels, right,
Mhm.
to create their own, and model the ones that who are already good at something that you want to do, right? And I like the concept. I really like the concept because it's, instead of just reading million books, you just do things and check what worked for other people and just do that, right?
Mhm.
And I wanted to do that, exactly that part, when it comes to building your identity, right, on social media. Because we had to realize that whoever we are in a real life is
Mhm.
not what people know looking at social media. And we all know this, social media are
Absolutely.
all so sweet, so amazing. It always shows the good stuff.
Yeah.
There's like a little bit disconnection between the social media and the real life, right?
Absolutely.
So so how do you actually do this? How do you create this persona of you that people will know from social media? People who, by the way, never seen you in real life. Just even us, right? Like we know each other quite well at this point
Mhm.
because of all the communication that happened online, but we never seen each other in a real life,
Yeah,
right?
you're
So
right.
how come we were able to build this real
Mhm.
connection still, right? That was something that I was like, how it's possible? I know it's possible. People can do this, but how do you do this, right? And so I started to read stuff, go to courses again, and model my mentors. And I figured out that it's actually not that different from the real life situations that I knew from classrooms or schools,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's how I created, came up with this idea to create a community on Facebook, build your brand, right? Build your personal brand,
And, mm-hmm.
that in my head is just two simple things, right? Building my brand is sort of like a school of self mastery because of one thing. In order to build my brand and show myself, show my image to other people online,
Mm-hmm.
I first need to master myself in a sense of figuring out what's the part of me that I want to share, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's very important.
And why I want to share it. Like for
Mm-hmm.
myself, not for other people, like for me, why I would want people to know me for this thing or for that thing or for whatever, right? And then if I'm conscious about what about me I would like people to know, then the second part of building the brand is being able to communicate it effectively. The things that I have over here, right? How do I share it with others so they can see this vision of mine,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how the build your brand community and mind explorers came to existence.
The Mind Explorers, did that come, because I see you wear that shirt all the time, Mind Explorers. Is that just part of building? That's part of your brand, Mind Explorer, right?
Yeah, so this is what we call each other. Like the group is called Build Your Brand School of
Mm-hmm.
Self Mastery, but the members of the group in my head, everybody who is interested in this,
Mm-hmm.
in mastering yourself and then sharing what's best about you with the world, is a mind explorer because you are here, right?
Right.
Everything comes from your mind, from your thoughts, from whatever you're creating inside, and then you want to share it with others, so you're exploring your mind and then you're
Sharing it with others.
bringing
Right.
it to the world.
Yeah. For me, I keep thinking of brave new thinker. Brave new thinker is what speaks to me. And I remember, well, that actually came from Mary Morrissey, who was one of my great
Right.
mentors, you know. And I remember thinking the first time I heard it, I thought, oh yeah, because I mean, here I am at my age, still going, and it is brave new thinking, but
That's
really,
true.
you know.
That's true.
So, so let's talk about your build your brand. I know that you are doing something very, very exciting. You're, I think it's happening on Monday. You are inviting people to a storytelling because you got into storytelling. Tell us
Mm.
what's so fascinating about storytelling to you, for you,
Right. So
for
it
the
sounds
rest
a
of
little bit like a children's game over here, right?
us.
Storytelling.
Hmm.
The thing is that there is no better way for saying this, but if like I am really into storytelling at this point. Like when I started to dive into this world, I realized and started to read that this is one of the oldest way of education, storytelling. You
Absolutely,
know?
the Bible,
Like even
parables.
before even before
Mhm.
any official schools were made, people were learning through storytelling, right? And
Absolutely.
one of the greatest quotes, I don't remember right now the author of the quote, but he says that the shortest distance between two people is a story, right? And so I feel like that's it, right? Because we are hardwired as humans for story. This is how we learn fast,
Hmm.
right? Not by just getting the facts, right? But by connecting the dots, how these facts will work for me, right? And through a story, I can share it really quickly. So in a school, when I was back in working as a teacher, we've been using storytelling like on a daily basis, right? You mentioned we were working in international schools and IB schools that have sort of like the top-notch schools in the world, you could
Right.
say, and the stories were the most important tool that we would use to attract students to the topics that we were covering, right? And so when I started to do this, learning about social media, right, and learning about effective communication online, and going through courses of Pat Quinn or Pete Vargas or other people who are into this, I realized they actually use the same strategies to attract clients, to build relationships online. They use stories, and they were very similar to the ones that I was creating in the school, right?
Oh my God, yes. And I mentioned you and I both have the same mentors. I mean, Dean Graciosi and Tony Robbins. I mean, Tony gets on the stage and that's all he does is tell one story after another. Unbelievable.
Exactly, right?
And that's how he captures the audience. And I've heard his stories over and over again, and I never get tired of them because he puts so much emotion into his stories that it always sounds like a new story every time. So
Right.
yeah, I do believe that storytelling is fascinating and it's a wonderful way to communicate online. So tell us about this a challenge. I think you're calling it a storytelling 3-day challenge, right? That is that what
Yeah,
it is?
so this is the second time we do this challenge. The first time we called it "Share Your Story Challenge." This time I changed it, and it's rebranded to "Brand Story Challenge,"
Brand
and
story.
that's if for short BS challenge. Right? Don't mistake this for some other BS. This is about brand story, and it's brand story challenge because the story we are sharing, it's not just telling some stories, it's about the story for your business, right? So we're really zooming in on this strategy that I call MASS, right? Most effective storytelling script. And so the simplest script, the shortest script that you can use on social media to share stories in business situations, right? Just like you said, like Dean is sharing all these different mini stories in his programs or live shows or whatever. Same for Tony Robbins, right? If you've been a part of
Mhm.
UPW, right? Like you can see, I had a chance to see it twice, and he shares the same
Same
stories, but
story.
again, they're mastering
Yeah,
this art of storytelling so much that they're so compelling when they're sharing it that it doesn't even matter that you've heard the words.
right.
You want to feel the emotions, live through it again, because then it motivates you to take action at the end of the day, right?
Absolutely.
So with the brand story challenge, I realized this. It's very easy, right? We just finished influencer summit with Brandon Bouchard just
Mhm.
the other week, right? And Brandon was just sharing his path through how you can build your online following, how you can increase the sales online, right? How you can build your movement, your community, and it's just like, yeah, you just have to do this, one video, then break it down, then do this. And to be honest, it actually is that easy, right? Once you have this basic stuff about social media, you can plug it in, you can create your marketing funnel and your group and your elements. But there's one thing then that you have to practice and do constantly in order to get better and actually really build that following. And that one thing is storytelling, is
Mhm.
being better in communication, right? Because otherwise you just don't come out authentically, or you just you're losing people because you're talking about other stuff that are maybe not important for them, or saying too many things, right? So without the practice, even if you have the best things out there, spend a lot of money, right? A bunch of money for best websites and best funnels, nothing will happen because people are attracted to you and not something
Absolutely.
that you build.
Right. So your brand is really you. You're selling yourself, actually, your personality. So
Exactly.
tell me,
Exactly.
who is this challenge for, really? This brand story challenge.
Well, that's a great question. So, as I mentioned, it's really for anybody who is thinking about connecting with your audience, finding your ideal clients on social media, right?
Hmm.
Because this particular storytelling script that we're practicing is for especially effective for social media use. Nevertheless, we're mostly attracting people who are either course creators or coaches or entrepreneurs who have an idea for the offer that they have,
Right.
and they're looking for people. They're just struggling with, like me back in the days, right?
Yeah.
I had my products. I was struggling with finding these people and communicating with them, taking them from this moment when they just get to know me for the first time until they actually took my thing, bought my program, right?
Right. Right.
So these kind of people who are looking to master the skills of storytelling and building the know, like, and trust on
Mm-hmm.
social media, that's for them. This is designed for them. And I would say, no matter if you're just starting with your storytelling, or you're already doing this for a while, it's always room to improvement, right?
Right.
And
Right.
we want to
Absolutely.
provide these little rooms inside the Zoom. It's all going to be on a Zoom call, right? And in the Zoom, we're going to divide the participants into smaller rooms when they get to share their stories. So it's not just, come and listen how we share the story. No. We're turning it around, and it's going to be you sharing your story. We're going to all have the same script, and it's going to be in a form of a challenge, which means there got to be prizes, right? And the main prize for this challenge is the ticket for our launch lab, which is a program, a two month program that you're part of, by the way, right?
Yeah, I'm part of this. Yes, absolutely.
Uh, so I'm super happy that we get to impact these people and help them design state of the art marketing campaigns for the program that they already have.
Right, absolutely. So, but tell me, why should they join this challenge? I mean, there are lots of challenges out there. There's a
That's
challenge
true.
every week, I mean, on social media. So, why should anybody join this particular challenge? What greater benefit are they going to get? I mean, you did mention the fact that there's going to be practice, breakout rooms that but there's got to be some prerequisite for that. I mean, people just cannot come cold to the Zoom and then all of a sudden be able to practice at their 3 minutes. So explain that a little bit to me.
Right. So that's very true. Right now we have a challenge, every corner, right, or
Yeah.
every group. What makes this challenge a little bit different from any other challenge is the fact that this challenge is all for you. Like, we really limited the time when you're just coming and listening to the information,
Mm-hmm.
and we are putting the more focus on you actually practicing the skill, right? So we give you 3 days to practice, right, your story in a very certain, like, organized way.
Mm-hmm.
And even after these 3 days, I'm sure if you will be doing this, obviously, you will definitely feel the difference, that you can feel more comfortable, and just can share the story with potential clients that you can meet online, right? But why this challenge, and why I created this in this particular way, is because of my other mentor, Jim Edwards,
Mm-hmm.
who is one of the biggest copywriters at this time.
Not the
It's really,
biggest,
really,
yes.
really,
Mm-hmm.
really big. He's
Yeah.
working for ClickFunnels with Russell Brunson, but he's also have his own company and created amazing content. And he said this one thing to me, and it really stick, that even if you have an amazing product, right, no matter what niche, no matter what business, you have an amazing product, but you don't have a good strategy and a good marketing campaign for it, you're still not going to go far, right? And that's why the most intelligent people and the most brilliant people are not the richest one, right? So he says, but if you have just a normal product, like any other product that is out there, it's a good product, but
Mm-hmm.
it's nothing amazing that somebody else can't have, right? But for that product, you have an amazing marketing campaign, you'll do magic with it,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. I've seen
And
it over and over again. Yeah.
what I realized. This is what I realized, that we as educators, coaches, course creators, all kind of content creators online, we put so much time and effort to build our thing, to build our program, to
Mm-hmm.
build, this amazing service that will provide to others and that will transform their life, right? And we know this. We're so proud of it. And then we're putting it out there and nobody comes, right?
Right.
And that is because most of us, like me at least at the beginning, know nothing about marketing,
Right.
right?
It's
And
a
we're
skill art.
struggling with that part, and we have a good product, but because we don't have this other element, we start to think, oh, maybe our product is not good. And then what happens? We put even more time to make this product even better, right? That's not the way. It's not changing anything. What's changing things is if you start putting a little bit more attention to how do you share this with other people? How do you build your brand, right? And tell people about this amazing thing that you created,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you put at least 50% of your time and effort into sharing this information with others, you'll be amazing. You'll do great things. So why brand story? Because I feel like mastering your brand story, only this one piece of the whole puzzle for the
Mm-hmm.
marketing is giving you at least like 50% of your success. If you can really nail it when I have my other person in front of the camera, right, on the other side of the
Mm-hmm.
camera, and I can share my story and attract them, connect emotionally, they will take action, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So and there is no other way to do it by,
But
by practicing.
right, but we're talking about a 3-day challenge. So what can a person who joins this challenge, what can they expect as a result? 3 days. I mean,
Right.
3 days is a
So
lot. I mean,
we have to be realistic, obviously.
Mhm.
We're not going to be master storytellers after
Right.
3 days, right? Nevertheless, I will definitely say what you can expect is that you will have a clear understanding of how you share your story,
Okay.
and you'll have a boost of confidence
Hmm.
sharing it, right? Not to mention that you will have the script that you can follow. You will have the exact steps that you can really do even when the challenge is finished. Still do it. Still share with these individuals who needs your help. And in no time, you will have a story that will land clients in your programs. That's
Okay.
the idea over here.
Well, that's huge. So tell me, are there any prerequisites to get into the challenge? Does somebody need to, you know,
Right. So the challenge is free, okay,
okay.
because we want to allow people to just have a go.
Hmm.
Obviously, the challenge is still a challenge. So those of you who come prepared will have bigger chances to win the prize. Nevertheless, don't do it for the prize. Do it for the sake of getting better in storytelling. So even if you're new, what you can do inside our Build Your Brand community on Facebook in our group, which is free to join for everybody, you can find pre-trainings. In the pre-training, you will learn a little bit more about MESS, which is the storytelling script that we'll be using for the challenge.
Hmm.
You will also find examples, either mine or some of the other mind explorers, right? And obviously tomorrow inside our community we have a weekly meeting, and I will give some extra information about the criteria, right? So what we'll be looking at,
Hmm.
what you should look at when you're sharing your story. So all this will help you a little bit to prepare better for the challenge. But even if you're just going to be brand new for this, you can still join the challenge, get the structure, right? And just have a go.
Okay.
Just have a go,
Just, just
right?
do it. Right.
Exactly. You don't have to be a winner right away. First time you go to do to do the public speaking and storytelling. But like I said, if you're not going to start, then you will never reach this next and 10th and whatever level, right?
Mhm. Okay, well, great. So I have here, I was, as you're talking, I was just writing for I wanted to show that Build Your Brand School of Self Mastery is the Facebook group, right?
Yes.
That you created. And here, if they, so they can go to the group and sign up for the challenge, or they can just simply join the challenge here by fb.me/e/1QHLIU7XZ. So,
Yeah.
you know what? After we finish, I will put it in the comments, to make it nice and easy for anybody who wants to join the challenge directly. Any
Yeah, I'm
other
sure. I'm sure it's easy to find by just typing in a search bar on Facebook. If you type in "brand story challenge,"
brand story
it should
challenge?
take you straight to the event.
Okay.
It's a 3-day event, and you can sign in for the event right there from Facebook.
Okay, so this prize is the Launch Lab 2.0. Can you talk a little bit about that for people to know what it is that you know, they want
Right.
this?
So, like I mentioned at the beginning, right, that there is a whole marketing structure that you build
Mhm.
for your programs on social media, right?
Right.
That Brandon Bouchard was, for instance, talking about during the Influencer Summit. And what the Launch Lab is this is a program, a mastermind, where we're taking our clients, people who already have something to sell, right, an idea who they want to serve, right, who they want to sell it to, and
Okay.
we're building the whole uh, Facebook organic funnel for them, right? Where they can plug in these elements and have a chance to build that relationship, right? From like turn these strangers at the beginning
Hmm.
into clients inside their programs, right? It has to be like a certain journey that we're taking people through. There's a couple elements, and in a launch lab, we give two things. First of all, we're giving the structure, and you have two options. You can either, some people come to a launch lab, they already have it, so they don't need any extra help with that, and it's perfect. Some people, they need some tweaking and they need some extra elements, so we give them the instructions. And some other people, they're a little bit new to this. They can get some extra help and have it done for them, right? But the main part of the launch lab is actually the communication part. So what happens if you already have it and you have the program and you're ready to serve and you have this idea where these people might be, and then what I do, right?
Right.
So the launch lab is us as a team taking our clients through this process of taking these people, building the trust, right, and offering them our thing, right?
Wow. Yeah. Well, that's huge. So Mike, as a person, this is kind of a personal question. What's next for you? I mean, this is community building. This is wonderful. Teaching people how to brand their personality online. This is huge. This is not easy. I've been
Mm.
online for 3 years. It takes work, and so what's the next big thing for you as far as you know
I have a big
down the road?
imagination.
I know you do.
So to be honest, I just got attracted to this marketing world. I right now I'm working in the marketing agency just to learn more, because I want to know the whole thing, the whole shebang, and then so I can serve these people better.
Hmm.
So I definitely gonna explore like all these other options, how we can build our brand and business online. I feel like we're still really early over here, because um, people say that until 2025 we're going to have another 500 million users
Wow.
on internet, right? Like the in this network. Not to mention that now we know that the owner of Facebook, right, is turning this whole company into another level, and we're going to have a metaverse, right?
Oh
The
my Lord.
metaverse is coming. The internet 3.0 is
Oh,
coming.
yeah.
And so like the possibilities are just hard to imagine, like if you just go back in time to 90s, for instance, and somebody would tell, when we were using just phones right back then, and
Yeah.
somebody would tell you that we'll be doing this, that you'll be able to see people all around the world, connect with them
Yeah.
on Zoom, and then talk with New York, Mexico, and blah blah. It would be just like nobody would be
Mind-boggling.
able to imagine it, right? and that
Absolutely.
was in and that was just like what, 25 years ago.
Hmm.
Now this whole thing goes even faster now. So what will happen within the next couple years is not even, we're not even able to imagine how that's going to work. But it's going to be an internet that, the 3D internet will be, in this metaverse, when people will be meeting in the online world, just like you're standing right here in front of me,
I know.
right?
I
Now,
know.
imagine this. It is like, I feel like it's already happening. It is the future. What's worth doing right now? What's worth practicing? I still have the same thing in my heart. Being a great communicator in this new world is gold, right? Because right now, these business owners and all these people who are thinking about like having these ideas, right, and thoughts, transforming their lives and lives of people around them. Now they
Mhm.
can transform the whole world, right?
Absolutely.
This new internet and new possibilities will make the world so small. It's going to be so much easier to share your ideas if you know how to do it.
If you know how to do it, absolutely. And that brings to mind that we've been talking about this challenge and we never ever mentioned the date. So the challenge is from December 13th, right? 14th and 15th, right? And so
Correct.
that's Monday. That's starting Monday. So,
It's starting this Monday. Just time wise, it's not
yes,
going to be the
homework.
whole day, so don't be worried that you have to spend all day on this. We only need around hour and a half. Within this hour and a half, 30 minutes will be for a little training and
Hmm.
us giving you some details of the challenge, and then the rest of the time we're giving you to share the stories, right? To use the script and share the stories. And that's
So
going to be every day, starting 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Eastern or is it Pacific time?
So that's Eastern. So that's
That would be,
am I saying right?
no,
It's wait one second. No, sorry, you're right. Pacific Standard Time.
Pacific.
Eastern Time is going to be noon. Noon time,
Exactly.
Eastern, and Pacific Time 9 a.m. and that's 6 p.m. in Central Europe.
Okay, so we want to repeat. So the 3-day challenge, Story Day, Brand Your Story Challenge is happening on December 13th. That's Monday. So it'll happen Monday,
Correct.
Tuesday, and Wednesday, December 13th through the 15th. The time commitment is an hour and a half, and it's starting at 9 a.m. PST time, Pacific Standard Time, or maybe it's daylight time.
Correct.
I'm always very confused about these time zones. But anyway, and so, and anybody can join by going to, okay, do you want to repeat it again? So that,
Yeah, so the easiest way to join the challenge is like, obviously, I'm sure that Lucy will put the link
I
on
will.
somewhere underneath this video. But if you type in on Facebook in the search bar, Brand Story Challenge, right? Story for business, then the Facebook will just send you straight to that
Right.
to that event, right? And you can just either click interested or register. Then once we have you on the list that you're interested, we will give you the reminders. We'll send you the reminders. There's a little messenger chat group that is created for people who are participating in the challenge, and they will receive an information that the session starts within an hour, so you will have enough time to prepare.
Okay, so I just want to repeat again. The challenge is a 3-day challenge. It's Brand Your Story Challenge.
Brand Story Challenge.
Brand Story Challenge. Brand
BS
Story
challenge, right? BS
BS
challenge. You need to remember BS challenge.
Challenge. Okay. And it starts at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And so we will see you there. Mike, thank you. Is there anything that you would like to add, before we end this broadcast? Because I know your time is we're all so busy. And I want to thank you for coming. And I'm
Thank
sorry
you
I
so
couldn't have
much,
you here
Lucy,
today.
for this interview. Like, you know that I'm always there for you. I just wanted
Mhm.
to share one thing, guys. Like, when it comes to building this online relationships, as you can see here is the greatest example. 2 years ago, I didn't know Lucy,
No,
right? And we live in like on two different sides of the planet, right? And the only possibility for us to build this relationship was through online. And right
absolutely.
now, not only we're, I have a chance to be interviewed by Lucy, but we're also running a business together, right?
Absolutely.
And we have a lot of other connections and possibilities to exchange information. And all that happened through doing what we're teaching, right? So that's just like a great example, a great proof that it is possible. It is possible. Not to mention, look, there's also intergeneration
Multi,
collaboration, right?
absolutely, intergenerations. It's amazing. It's totally amazing. We are global, and it is a different world today. So thank you, Mike, for your time. I really appreciate you being here today. I just want to thank my audience for those wonderful little hearts that you're sending us. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for joining us live. And just remember that next Thursday, another awesome, empowering interview. So I'll see you next Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So thank you, Mike, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Lucy. And go and share stories online.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll see you Monday, 9 o'clock GST.
Yes, that's true.
Okay.
Whoever wants to come and share, we're waiting for you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you. Bye bye, Mike.